What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and we just got some breaking news about a character who's going to appear in Rise of Skywalker, and that character is Wedge Antilles. Now, usually I don't cover too much breaking news on the Rise of Skywalker. I don't really deal with too many plot leaks or things like that. I might do a trailer reaction here or there, but this one I wanted to talk about because it's kind of important to me. And a couple days ago, we saw a book cover released, and the Spanish version, when it released, you could see it was for a book called Resistance Reborn, had Poe Dameron on the cover, but in the background you could kind of see someone that looked like an older Wedge Antilles, that looked like an old Dennis Lawson, like how he looks now. And if you don't know, Dennis Lawson is the character who originally portrayed Wedge Antilles in episodes 4, 5, and 6. Now, if you're someone who's just watched the movies, you know who Wedge is, obviously, and he did play a really important role. One of the few people to survive the Death Star run, and then he was the only person to survive 2 Death Star runs. So he's a character that has a very small part in the movies, but a pretty big impact. But in the Star Wars Expanded Universe, it's a little different. Now, before I get to that, I do want to say shout out to Rebel Force Radio. Rebel Force Radio are the ones that I saw that broke this news. They reached out to a representative for Dennis Lawson, and he confirmed that he will be in Rise of Skywalker. So the other person I want to give a shout out to is Rhodes Rants. Rhodes Rants, I saw his video. That's how I learned about this, and that directed me to Rebel Force Radio. So great job, Rhodes, on top of it, as always, man. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is because if you've read the Expanded Universe, you know that Wedge Antilles has become so much more than just the side character that he was in the original trilogy. And if you haven't read it, what I would recommend reading if you're interested in Wedge Antilles is Rogue Squadron. I've got the first 4 books right here, and X-Wing Rogue Squadron kind of got it all started off. And you see that Wedge Antilles is he's obviously an incredible pilot, but he's also a great leader and a really important part of everything that the Rebellion does to turn itself into the New Republic. He's absolutely critical. Him and Rogue Squadron are really the reason that they're able to take Coruscant back from the Empire and reinstall themselves in that central location of government in the galaxy. He's a huge part of almost every major military operation, from when he's there on Yavin all the way through until the end. He obviously does retire at some point, but he always gets drawn back into conflict when either the New Republic or the Galactic Alliance or the Corellian people need him to be. And he's a great friend of Luke Skywalker. He trains so many, well, I shouldn't say trains, but he ends up finding so many great pilots and bringing them onto Rogue Squadron, developing relationships with them. Through him, we get to learn about Tycho Selchu. We get to learn about Corran Horn, Gavin Darklighter. People who, go and do great things in the Star Wars Expanded Universe. He's related to Jagged Fell, another incredible pilot, and who will eventually become the husband of Jaina Solo. You get to see him, fall in love and create a family with another character we care about, Ayala. And, they have children and they go on to continue to do great things. So Wedge Antilles is really important to me. And the fact that now he's coming back in episode 9, I'm not excited, right? Because now I feel like it's another character that they're going to wreck for me. And when I say wreck for me, I don't mean like I'll never have that Wedge Antilles, but it's just going to be sad to see this Wedge Antilles. Now, if they make him awesome, hey, they make him awesome, and that's great. But, Dennis Lawson, it's funny, a couple years ago, he made a lot of news because there was some quote that was taken a little bit out of context, evidently. But there was some quote that, they asked him to have a part in The Force Awakens, and he was like, nah, I'd be bored with that, basically. I told him no. It turns out he was a little more, that was kind of a misquote. What was really going on, and he was already committed to another project, and he couldn't really make it work for this very, very small role that it would have been. So he said, if you want me to do something in the future, let me know. So evidently that was a little more accurate because, they did let him know they want to do something, and he will be in Rise of Skywalker. But like I said, if you're interested in Wedge Antilles, the hero, the general, the pilot, the family man, then I highly recommend you read the Star Wars Expanded Universe, starting with X-Wing Rogue Squadron, which he plays a huge role about. That's really what the books are about. It's about him and his group of pilots. And like I said, he goes on to be such a big part of everything, and highly recommend getting into it. You realize that he's such a bigger character than you ever could have thought about. But what do you guys think? Are you excited that Wedge Antilles is returning to the Star Wars on the big screen with Rise of Skywalker? Are you excited to learn more about Wedge Antilles from the Expanded Universe after listening to what I said? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to send me something, that's awesome. Check out my P.O. box in the description below. Also find my links to Twitter and Instagram and follow me there. Can't wait to hear from you guys.